So this is going to be the penguin talk. So hand it over to the professionals.
Penguin talk here today. We'll have a keeper come around very shortly to feed them. Until they get here, you can talk your ears off a bit about penguins, so that's what I enjoy doing. So in here, 24 lovely, very cute Humboldt penguins. I don't think everybody's out, but they will be when there's food about. So these are your Humboldt penguins. They're found along the Humboldt current. They're also known as Peruvian and Chilean penguins. So that's why they're found around Peru and Chile. They're also known as donkey penguins for the weird and wonderful noises these guys like to make. Trust me, it gets quite loud when all of them are screaming like donkeys. It's a lot of fun. But most common things we do get asked about these guys is why are they in snow? Why are they not in cold? Where is, you know, what's going on with that? There's about 17 different species of penguins. Only 6 of them are found in cold places. A lot of them like the warm weather. So that massive heat wave we had last year, loved every second of it. Because these guys have been in UK for so long, and obviously the warmest we get is like 22 degrees or so. So we did get told by the vets to make sure they've got a lovely shaded area, sprinklers. Yeah, they all avoided all of it. They all laid on the bridge where the sun hit perfectly, and they were all sunbathing. They were sat there panting, which does mean they're too hot. We did give them everything, they just didn't want to, couldn't bother to move. We tried moving them back into the shade. The ones that were panting, they were like, go back to the bridge. So we did do our best, just obviously, as you can see, it didn't work. But they are very, very funny birds. So yeah, these guys, like I said, they're found around Peru and Chile. They like the warmer weather. Another thing we do get asked is, can your birds fly? Because there's a net above the head. Giving them way too much credit there. They are a flightless bird. Does stop other birds going in, because bird flu's really bad at the moment, when our bird safety is a massive priority. And I'm sure if anyone's local, you all know, or if you live along the seaside, you all know how nasty seagulls can be. Don't really want them near our birds. So it's just for a safety precaution. But because of bird flu, we've got that gate up there and this one over here to make it a whole quarantine system and lock them off. But you're also nice and safe in there, aren't you? Especially you clumsy, big bouncy man, bodybuilder. But another thing we do get asked is, can your birds read? Again, give them way too much credit than they need. No, they can't read. That's just a bit of fun for you guys. You all know where they're sort of who they're paired up with, where they all live as well. You have obviously got this lovely board that's been moved down because it used to be up there in that lovely viewing area, but it's been moved down here so you can sort of see who's who. There is, just want to point out with this board, there is one penguin that's missing off there, and that's this one with the green, red, white band, Christmas colours. That's because we made this board, we're like, yeah, we're going to keep, when the egg we thought wasn't viable hatched and we had little buddy form. So we ended up saying, well, we just can't put it, a bit late now because that costs a lot of money to do. A bit late to then go and put another penguin on. So yeah, Buddy's the only penguin missing off there. Yeah, so we've got a lovely board here so you can see who they are, who they're paired up with, their date of birth as well. If the bands, with their bands, if it's on the left, it's a male, if it's on the right, it's a female, because apparently women are always right. But these guys, they are very, very funny, very characteristic, especially when we put the bands on. It's very interesting. Sometimes, in fact most of the time, you come at a good time, all the bands are on the correct wings, but trying to put a band on and tighten it and wrestle a 4 or 5 kilo bird, it's not an easy, especially if they've got lovely powerful beaks and wings. Really not an easy job to do, so sometimes the bands do get put on the wrong wing, but they're all, as far as I'm aware, they're all on the correct one. Another thing we do get asked, particularly in the summer, is are your birds sick or are they ill? Because what they do every year is they get rid of all the feathers, grow new ones. But yeah, when they do this, they look like plucked turkeys, boiled chickens, whatever saying you'd like to use. They look awful, absolutely awful. It's called a catastrophic molt because of how rough and scruffy they look. A few of them have started it. Usually, like I said, it does happen in the summer. I've got a few very stupid birds that are trying to start it now, in the nicest way possible. It's the nice thing I can say it. But you've got Woody, Mumbles and Pinky who are looking like they're wanting to do it now, so they're the ones who are getting a little bit fatter, and they've got a few feathers missing already. Bear in mind, yes, I think recently we had sort of warmer few days. It's still quite cold though. They basically, if you had 1 or 2 days in the winter when it's like really, really warm, like 18 degrees warmer than it is in that winter period, they'll start stripping all the feathers off, and it's like brilliant. But they tend to take, usually it takes about a few weeks to do. Those two, well, in particular Mumbles and Woody, tend to take a few months to do theirs because they just put it on pause all the time. They start it and stop it regularly. so it can be quite frustrating. We did get them from Great Yarmouth. We had all the Great Yarmouth penguins, sent them all back except those two because they had started their molt, which can be quite a stressful process. We said, oh, they'll only take a few weeks, we'll send them back when they're done. They didn't admit to us that they actually take a few months to do it, so we had them for months and we're like, you know what, we'll just keep them, it's fine. So I think they might have sort of manipulated that one a little bit, but yes, so we ended up keeping them. So we've got Holly coming in now to feed the birds, but while she's doing that I will just keep talking your ears off. So they are very, very funny. Rico in particular is being fed just now. Rico holds the record for the most smallest fish eaten in one feed. So they do get fed 4 times a day. Averagely, roughly, they should eat about 20 fish in a feed. 20 of the small fish in a feed. The minimum they can have in a whole day is 20 fish. Because occasionally they do just have their off days when they don't want to eat, especially the females when they have just laid an egg. Yeah, so Rico had the record. He had lots more throughout the day. I can't remember the exact number, but in one feed, when I said they averagely have about 20, he had 103. And a lot more throughout the day. So he had a lot that day, but then again he had to go through his molt and he had a baby to feed as well. So there was a lot going on, bless him.
Is it a particular fish you use then?
Yes, we feed them sprat, which is a small silverfish, and then we also feed them herring. If you saw the seal feed, we also feed them that stuff as well. When they go through the molt, they do need a lot more food, so you need to get as fat as anything really, like a balloon about to pop, ideally. So it tends to weigh about 4 or 5 kilos averagely. Some of them, the smaller ones, might just weigh about just under 4. Like Muttley here, she tends to weigh a little bit under 4 as well, but she's just very, very slim, always has been. And then all of a sudden when she's molted, she puffs up, gets real big, and then that's it, and she's slim again. What the dream. But yeah, so when they tend to be molting, they tend to then go up to about 8 kilos or so double in size. Buddy weighed nearly 9, the little baby chick who's going to be 2 this year. He weighed so much that I think he could barely move. He sat where that big pole is in the middle. There's usually a sign there that tells you a bit about them molting. He sat there, didn't move. I don't think he could make himself move really. He just kept turning the sign around so people couldn't read it about the molting. So it was a good like wrestle with him all day, moving the sign around. They have all got their own personalities. There's always something funny I can tell you about each individual. These guys do tend to be monogamous, so they find a mate for life. However, in every group of penguin, you will find the one who's a bit of a flooze, what we like to call, someone who's not so monogamous really. Introducing Leia. So it does say Leia and Kevin together. That is no longer true. It now is Leia and Fred. So Fred was at that age where he wanted a partner. He's about 4 years old. He's looking for someone. You can get same gender couples, so he could have paired up a buddy. At Great Yarmouth, they've got Ringo and Pitcher together, but Fred was like, no, not interested. I want a female, but it's already taken. All our females had a partner here, and he decided, no, I'm going to take someone. The only female gaining interest was Leia, so they ended up pairing together. Kev got absolutely battered by Fred because, as far as Fred's aware, the only reason she's not being with me is because of you, so I may as well just take you out, sort of thing. Fred is the one who's sort of staring at us, like on the ledge there, facing towards, about to flap his wings. There he is there. But he's a very, very tall penguin as well. So yes, he may be one of our younger ones, but he's very, very tall and very stocky for a young male. So Kev had stood no chance, bless him. Poor little man. So yeah, so basically that's why Fred and Lara are not penguin of the week. Kev does have his own little house now because he has nowhere to go. Where it says Pinky and Gonzo, that belongs to Pinky and Gonzo. So does the next house, which has no name above it, and the next house after that. So we had to turn that round so that Kev has got somewhere to stay, and he sleeps behind the scenes overnight. When it faces forward, Pinky and Gonzo are 03 and won't let Kev in them. We have got our two caves over here. No, that belongs to Mums and Woody, both of them. And on the far side, we've got a lovely cave by itself. It's actually Georgie and Krusty's summer house, so Kev's not allowed in that either. Yes, penguins do have summer houses as well. Georgie and Krusty, they do get special treatment. Georgie and Krusty are our oldest couple, but Georgie's our oldest penguin. She's 20 years old. That's how long they averagely live in the wild, and the oldest in captivity is 32 at Subi Hall. So she is an old lady for a penguin, bless her. She has got arthritis, so she does get a little bit of special treatment from us. Which means if she comes over and she wants to eat, we just got to put the tray down and she can take as much food as she wants. All the others don't get that special treatment. It's nice with Krusty because he does walk around with his wings out constantly. He does look like he's carrying carpets, which is nice because when he goes stand next to Georgie, he puts his wing around her, which is really cute to see. Aww. A few of our birds are hand reared here, so we've got Custard, Wilma, Rico and Skipper are all hand reared. Now, Custard is the offspring of Georgie and Krusty. Georgie knows her sort of, what's the word? She has limitations. She knows sometimes she can't always look after 2 chicks because it is very, very difficult. Kevin and Leia are the only penguins I know here really that have looked after 2 chicks on their own without any help. But Georgie and Krusty, they had Custard and another penguin. It's gone to another centre, and yeah, she gave us the egg. She was like, you guys can have that one, I'm going to have this one. And that's where little Custard, who's on the rock in the middle here, appeared. And he's a lovely little thing sometimes. Then we've got Wilma, who's sort of at the top of the slope on the right. She's going to turn around, yeah, she's going to try and pester for more food but not actually eat it. Yes, she's always got her band facing towards, but facing the keeper. So Wilma's lovely. She was also hand-reared. She's offspring of Pinky and Gonzo. She used to be an absolute little nightmare. She used to try and escape through the gates when you're trying to let you guys on and off the walkway. She used to follow us around, all of us, any staff member going in, follow us around in the mornings or throughout the day. And then she got in a little love triangle, we'll call it, with Skipper and Custard. And they'd always then cause chaos. She eventually paired up with Custard, and that's when she was like, I'm old enough and mature enough now, I don't need you guys, leave me alone sort of thing, I'm too cool for you. It does say Skipper is single on his house. That's not true. I forgot to mention he is paired up with Betty. We just didn't think he was going to last, that's why her name's not there. He doesn't have the best track record of keeping a female. But it does say on here that they are paired up together. So as I was saying, they are monogamous, but sometimes if breeding isn't successful, they'll move on. Or if a penguin passes away, then they will move on and find someone else. That's what Mavis and Clumsy did. Speaking of that though, Clumsy and Muttley, it's very shocking to see them still together. They've been together for 6 or more years now. Muttley's 20 and never laid an egg. Usually by now he would have left her after 2 years. She's 20 and never laid an egg, and he's still stayed with her. He does build a nest every year for her, and she's like, I think I'm going to go for a swim, or she'll start molting. Sorry, I don't have the energy for it. Bless him. He does sit there, build a nest, and call for her, and she just ignores him. She's a lovely, funny bird though. But going back to our hand-reared ones, we've got Rico and Skipper. They've raised together the exact same way. Complete polar opposites. Skipper will be happily sit there and give you a cuddle. Rico's like, touch me and you'll lose a finger. So yeah, if anyone does believe the penguins look cute and cuddly, I can tell you now, completely wrong. They're not like that at all. They can have their good days and bad days, but majority of the time they will happily tear your hand apart and let you know who's the boss sort of thing. Even though they are below knee height, or maybe just a bit above depending on how tall you are, but they are very feisty little things. Now, like I said, they all have their own personality. Pingu tends to be, he's one of our taller birds, he's one of our bigger ones, but like I said, give it all large as well as a few others, and then be absolutely scared and run away if you move. Clumsy here is a lovely, lovely old man. He's also 20 as well as Muttley. Clumsy is probably one of my favourites. He has a soft spot for the ladies, we'll say. Any female keeper who goes in, they're allowed to give him a little tickle. He's allowed to be, he's really nice to us, really polite, takes the fish gently. If the lads go in, completely different story. He's not quite as gentle with them, so he is a little bit of a ladies' man, bless him. He's definitely very funny as well. There is a big massive sort of, where his is in the corner, there's like a big board around his, and it's just a hole to go to his cave. That's because every penguin, I say every penguin, I mean the hand-reared ones, so Custard, and the younger ones, Betty and Fred, they're quite young but they're not hand-reared. They just sort of all follow each other around. Well, they'd go over and stand on top of his house and stomp on it and wind him up. There's also like a little rock work behind there, and they'd all go stand up there because he's too old to go and actually go up there and get them. So they all go wind him up, and then they hop over the boards and just cause chaos. So that's why that board's there, to give him a bit of privacy, bless him, because he's not quite as bit of a grumpy old man. He doesn't quite like penguins going near his house. He's very protective. A few of our hand-reared birds, i.e. Rico and Skipper, actually learnt that they can climb up the side of the waterfall along the rocks and hop the fence and then get out. So that's why there's a big white board in the corner, because they've learnt that they are great escape artists. They used to try and get as many penguins as they can on the walkway, so I'm letting you guys on and off, and I'm there wrestling like 4 or 5 penguins because they're getting more and more, and I'm trying to wrestle them so they can't get out and let you guys on. A few of our penguins do have behavioural issues, so when the penguin top viewing area is open again and walkway is open, they won't be able to walk around your feet because any shoelaces you've got, any dresses or skirts come in. Kids with fingers, they love that as well. Not quite letting them go near you because they're getting quite feisty at the moment. So it'll be bored, but they can still sit their heads over and say hello to you very closely. Unfortunately, these guys are classed as endangered due to overfishing, means they have further to travel and a small chance of coming back home. Another way you can buy sustainable caught fish, it does help these guys out a lot. Also another way is guano harvesting. So guano is a fancy word for bird poo, or what farmers go and do is they destroy their nests, destroy the eggs and chicks in the process, and take away their poo. just supporting as many charities as you can. So we're trying to go out there, sort of raise awareness why we should be leaving these guys alone, but also just checking fertiliser ingredients because that's what they put their poo in. I'll leave it there, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm here for 2 more minutes. And then if anyone's interested, there is a rainforest talk upstairs in our rainforest. Not quite a feed, do apologise, but you can learn a bit more about our reptiles upstairs. But yeah, have a really good day, guys. Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Do just want to point him out, but Krusty's the one who's just come out of the cave, out the house over there with his name on. He's just got his wings out, like always. Just wanted to point him out because he's probably the funniest bird you'll ever meet.